Hey friends, it's Jasmine, and I hope that you all are doing well. It's been a little while since I filmed, so apologies if I'm a little rusty. If you're new here, welcome. I am a witchy content creator here on YouTube and on some other platforms also, so if you want to check out my links down below in the description and follow me elsewhere. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. It's good to see you here. All of your likes and subscribing to the channel and channel memberships have been really helping this channel grow. And I appreciate all of the love and all of the support that I have been giving. So thank you again. Today's video is just gonna be kind of like a catch-up style video on what I've been up to, just to kind of update you all. So this goes back to the end of September, and I'm going to be including some clips just kind of along the way, catching you up to speed from what I've been up to since then. So the first thing would be the witches ball that I went to in New Albany, Indiana. And I went with some friends. It was just kind of like a weekend trip where we went down. It's not that far. I live in Indianapolis, so it's only about like a 2.5 hour or so drive. So it's not bad. And we went down, we stayed at a hotel in New Albany, and we went to the Midwest Witches Ball. The theme for the Witches Ball was tarot this year. So everyone showed up in their best Rider-Waite-Smith tarot-esque inspired costumes. I went as the devil. The tickets for the actual ball were also tarot cards. You can see it says like the witch's ball and then the devil. It was really, really fun. Antoinette did a wonderful job putting all of that together. We also were able to stop at the Raven's Roost, which is a metaphysical store, occult shop that Antoinette owns, and it sponsors the Witches Ball. Highly recommend that if you are in the area, you go check out the Raven's Roost boutique, I believe is what it's called. I will also leave a link to that shop down below in the description if you would like to check out what things they offer. Along with going to the Witches Ball, it was also kind of my birthday celebration, which I'm so happy to be done with my first Saturn return and to be shifting out of that energy because,
oh man, was that something?
If you'd like me to do a video talking about the astrological aspects of a Saturn return, I'm happy to do so. So just comment down below and let me know if that's something that you might be interested in. Witches Ball was held at the Grand in New Albany, which is a really beautiful historic venue. And it was nice to be there with like the friends that I went down with and the Coven mates that, you know, ended up coming along with as well. And also bumping into some other people that of course we kind of just know through the witchy community. It was interesting seeing different covens all under one roof, and not to mention several dozen handfuls of solitaries. It made for a very interesting social mixer sort of evening. Now, I did go to the Witches Ball last year as well, which was their first one. Some of you might remember that. And last year's Witches Ball to this year's Witches Ball, there were definitely kind of some differences. One would be the venue, and two, there were a lot more performances this year than there were last year. If I had to say sort of my good, my bad, and my ugly in regards to the Witches Ball, I think that the good would probably be just the amount of performances that were there, and all of the vendors were phenomenal as well. Also, like, it's just fun to have an occasion to get dressed up for. Ugly would probably just be the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of seating area. So it was absolutely a standing room. which I was kind of expecting from last year. But if I had to pick an ugly, it would just be that there wasn't really any place to sit. And so when people were doing the performances on stage, it kind of reminded me of like the old Emerson alternative music concert where everyone just kind of would dogpile towards the front, and you would just kind of have a crowd of people. So that would probably be the ugly for me, or that might be the bad. I don't know, it's hard to say between bad and ugly, right? But that would probably be that, I would say. The bad and the ugly would just be, it would have been nice to have some more seating available for people. Performances were amazing, and it was nice to see like a wide array and diversity of cast. There was some drag performance and burlesque performance as well, which was nice to have a little bit of a mix of that and a mix of different people performing, not just one body type or ethnicity, but a variety. Along with celebrating my birthday, I also decided that I was going to take the second year of the Red Thread Academy. If you're not familiar with the Red Thread Academy, it's an online American traditional witchcraft school. American folkloric witchcraft, American traditional. Anyway, it's an online academy. It's phenomenal. It's ran by Lorelei Black. And the interesting thing, and I've talked about this on my channel before too, but it was actually my friend online, Taya, who some of you might know as Taya Kennedy, who is also here on YouTube. It took a Canadian witch to bring me back to the magical tradition within my own backyard. Lorelei Black and Natalie Long kind of co-started the tradition. From there, it has continued to grow. If you are interested in the Red Thread Academy, I will try to remember to leave a link down in the description down below if you would like to check it out. The first year is primarily all about building foundations within the craft. Now, I've been a practicing witch for about a decade, give or take, and so some of the first year stuff was a little bit of a review for me. However, I think it's really important for us, regardless of our degrees within the craft or how long we've been practicing, to still revisit some of those basic foundations, because I think those foundations are what builds a really strong practice. Things like energy work, grounding, shielding, warding, or just knowledge of basic traditional ceremonial tools. A lot of it, like I said, was a bit of a review. However, I learned a lot as well. And even the stuff that I already knew somewhat was expanded upon by taking that first year of the RTA. It was also like very confirmational for me as someone who leads the Solar Court Coven, which is a neo-traditional witchcraft coven here in Indianapolis, which there's also a link down below if you're interested in checking us out. But I have led that group for the past 7 years, and I kind of started it out of a need because there wasn't really any other spot that I felt like I really fit. And I wrote a little bit about it in my book, Ambrosia's Book of Witchflight, another shameless plug. But I wrote a little bit about my experience of kind of coming into leading a coven and what that's been like for me, as I don't have another high priestess to go to seek wisdom or counsel for. I have had to lead this coven all on my own, and it's kind of also been in part due to, I believe, the mighty dead, the witches who have come before us, you know, those who can listen here, as they say. It's very confirmational for me that a lot of what I have been building in our local neo-tradition was kind of also confirmed through the Red Thread Academy. A lot of things that I thought, oh, this is our tradition, these are things that we've started, come to find out are just traditional witchcraft things that other witches around the world have totally been doing, because nothing is original under the sun, of course. And so seeing things like certain ritual tools or traditions and ways of doing things mirrored in my own personal practice and in our personal coven craft was really confirmational. I've finished my first year, and like I said, I've decided to commit to year 2. Now in year 2, you have to pick a specialty. You have like your standard course material for a year and a day, but then you also have a specialty that you focus on. And the specialty that I ended up picking was Votary. To take my votary work a step further, I've decided to dedicate myself formally as a priestess of Aradia, which, if you've been following me online, you know that I've kind of had a back and forth relationship with the Queen of Witches, with our Italian baddie, with Aradia. She kind of came into my life, I would say, in 2016, where I first bought a statue of her, not even realizing that it was actually her. I was working at a metaphysical store and we had this clearance table, and I would always kind of scour the clearance table because at the time I really couldn't afford to buy some of the very expensive statues I kind of wanted to. I just did not have the coin to buy it. I ended up buying this wood plaque of Aradia, not even knowing who she was. And one of my coworkers kind of grinned at me and was like, "Oh, so you're interested in Aradia?" And I was like, "What?" And then so she started telling me about the Gospel of the Witches, about Charles Leland, and that kind of piqued my interest. I've always been one to kind of want to explore things further, and like, I've always had questions and like, where does this come from and why is it relevant? And I feel like, especially as a witch, when we have things come into our path like that, they're worth taking a pause for and going to look deeper into why is this archetype or spirit coming into our life. And Aradia for me has been a spirit, has been a entity, has been an archetype that has come and gone over the past decade in my personal path as a witch. There's also a initiatory ritual at the end of the first year. And I'm not gonna go into that because some of that is a little bit fourth power, but that ritual of initiation is part of what has inspired me to look more into the Aradian mysteries and get a better understanding of that. Also, I have been a devotee of the Dark Mother or the Dark Goddess almost for as long as I've been a practicing witch. I have also been a priestess to those mysteries. And without getting into the initiation too much, it was revealed to me through ritual that the White Goddess is coming into my life in ways that I did not expect. And I won't lie, in that ritual, I was a little shocked, but the cards fall as they do, right? I have to be careful about how I talk about some of this because some of this does involve initiatory traditions and mysteries, but I'm trying to kind of paint the idea of how I came to being a votary of Aradia. So it was partially inspired by that initiatory ritual that I went through, and it was also partially inspired by my own practices and interests and discovering and learning more about the White Goddess archetype in my own life and practice. And for me, for the next year and a day through my work in the RTA, I will be working as a votary of Aradia. So you can expect to see some of that also manifesting here on the channel. One of the things that I plan to do is kind of like Esbat services where I use my Aradian Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, which is a wonderful deck. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful Oracle deck, but I'd like to use that for collective readings, moving through my year and a day of year 2. Coven and I also went to a local orchard, which was super fun. I'm gonna include some pictures and some videos of that as well. It was so fun. We did this last year also, and I really enjoyed it. We went to the same orchard this year, and like the apple cider and the apple butter and the corn maze, amazing. This is an orchard where you can also pick your own apples and your own pumpkins. So as a witch living here in the Midwest, I think that there is something very alluring and very magical about cornfields. And also in my book, Ambrosia's Book of Witchflight, I have a spirit codex, and the corn spirit is one of many spirits in that codex. And it's a spirit that I have been getting to know more as I connect to the land that I live on and the genus loci of our area. Cornfields, to me, are so powerful and liminal, and the energy of them just, I can't even put it into words, right? I think that's what they mean when they kind of say like, oh, this is a mystery. Like it's something to be explored and something to be experienced. But when you try to take the mysteries of the craft and put them into human words, it doesn't always translate very well, because I can't even think of how to explain the feeling I get within the corn. We went on a hayride and it was absolutely phenomenal. And then later in the month, one of my coven mates also hosted a pumpkin carving party. Where we had a spur-of-the-moment ritual with Jack-o'-lantern and we saned our pumpkins. It was really fun. There was a mix of coven witches, solitary witches, but then also just not witches. And so when we broke out into our spontaneous ritual, it was kind of funny because some of the people that are solitary, or some of the people that don't really practice witchcraft but are like adjacent to the craft through partners or friends or whatever, because, you know, the queer, the BDSM community kind of overlaps a little bit sometimes with the witch community. So they kind of watched the ritual and it was interesting. It was really interesting. It was the first time that we had done a ritual at my coven mate's clubhouse. And so that added a layer to things. And also it was completely unplanned. But anyway, I hope that you all have been doing well. I have a few videos posted already on Patreon, because all of the content I film first goes there, and then over time I release things here onto YouTube. So if you're watching on Patreon, hi, thank you for all of your support. I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded anything in a little while. I've been uploading some of my documents that I've been writing in regards to 2 manuscripts that I'm currently working on, and also some of my interpretations of some assignments I've also uploaded onto there for those of you who might be interested in kind of seeing my perspective on some of these American traditional witchcraft aspects. I hope that you all are doing well. I've missed you, and until next time, blessed be, and I will see you in hell. Been her a little bit?
Oh yeah, of course. We'd love a 360 for her. I paid $6.54. I'm surprised there's not. But yeah, I want to see what's going on. I wonder if they're setting up. Probably not locked if they're setting up.
How y'all feeling out there? You know, I see a lot of space, and I'm not a metal band. Y'all can come and dance. In fact, I'll come and join you.
Get the stuff we're getting.
That way we don't have to go back into the oldest orchard on the property. about 30 years old, still very productive. You can tell the old orchard from the new orchards. The old orchards are big, bushy green trees. The new orchards, they staked them up.
Tuttle Fruit Farm.
I think there's still a couple pumpkins that we can get out here to make a full pumpkin picture.